And now, the second part of our report, Sociolinguistics.
Ayan, magandang hapon po ulit mga classmates. Hi! Today, welcome back to our part 2 of our report. But before we proceed to our report, let me request Miss Analyn to lead a prayer.
Dear Father, we thank you for everyone gathered here now. Thank you that you know each of us by name and have caused us to walk with you. We say that we are dependent on you and our trust is in you completely. As we surrender ourselves in adoration, we welcome you among us today and celebrate the gift of life that you have lavished upon each of us. We ask that you will open our ears that we may hear your voice, open our minds so that we may receive your eternal wisdom, open our spirits so that we may know your leading and guidance, and open our hearts so that we may receive your wonderful love. Lord, we offer you our class today. We pray that through your divine guidance, we would learn how to listen attentively to the input of our reporters today. We appreciate your effort in imparting their knowledge in every one of us. May we participate so we could learn more while having fun. We value each other's contribution as we building blocks towards harmony. Grant us that we interact with one another, we recognize the fact that all our activities be accomplished for your greater glory. Lord, we also pray to protect us and our family from any sick and COVID-19 virus. Cover us with your blood for our shield. You are greater than any disease. Take away the fear, anxiety, and feelings of isolation. Those who
Thank you, Miss Analyn. So everyone, welcome to our part 2 of our report, Sociolinguistics. And this is the content for today. We have the introduction, linguistic versus social linguistics, social factors, and social dimensions. For today, these are our objectives. Number 1, to identify the reasons why we speak differently in different social contexts. That's the number 1 objective. Number 2, to distinguish social functions of language and the ways it is used to convey social meaning. And number 3, to get a wide perspective of how language affects people living in a certain geographical area and other important contributing factors that goes with it. Our first reporter is Miss Irish. Take it away, Miss Irish.
Okay, good day, Doc Melchor, and good day. Good afternoon, classmates. My name is Irish Dacsil, and my topic is all about the introduction of linguistics. Okay. Language is an important part of our identities, and the ways we feel about how others use language is influenced by our society. So when we study languages, we often focus on the language itself, the grammar, the vocabulary, the pronunciation, and so on. Sociolinguistics, however, give you the chance to look at the context within which the language is spoken rather than the mechanics of the language itself. Okay, so why does context matter? Why does context matter? Okay, before I read that, everyone has an accent. There's no such thing as an accentless. Di ba lahat naman tayo may accent? Kahit sa parte ng mundo kung saan ka galing, lahat tayo may accent. Okay, any version of English, we have accent, like Filipino accent, and then any other language. The many varied ways we speak are influenced by who we grow up and where we live and tons of other demographic factors. Okay. Ultimately, if you are learning the language with the aim of using it, then it's worth considering the places and cultures tied to the language. You can learn so much about the language that you're learning by looking past it to the things that it's attached to. So much of actual communication goes beyond just words and grammar without considering communication in its entirety. you'll never really be fluent in another language. Okay, so in order to learn the second language, you need to unlearn the first language. Tama po ba? Okay, and the way we feel about how we speak and how others sounds to us is influenced by our society. So language can even have a huge impact on our workplace, media, and even a trip to the store. So it's no wonder our personal accent and languages get tangled up in our identities. Looking at the social element of the language and how it forms part of our identity is also the study of sociolinguistics. Okay, so let's read about the brief history of sociolinguistics. During the 19th century, the social aspects of language were first studied under the guise of linguistic anthropology. And in the 1930s, it was a popular field among Indian and Japanese linguists, as well as by the Swiss Louis Gauchat in the early 1900s. And it wasn't until 1960 that William Lavaux in the US and Basil Bernstein in the UK pioneered the way for Western sociolinguists to make their appearance on the scene. So may ginawa po akong video dito about sa experiment po ni William Lavaux sa US, which is specifically is sa New York City.
William Lavaux is a linguist who was interested in the classic New York City accent, the one that drops the R after vowels. You might have seen it on t-shirts I Love New York. Back in the 1960s, Lavaux wanted to figure out what social factors is influence whether people said the R. Instead of the love, he went to a fancy department store, a mid-range department store, and a bargain department store. In each store, he figured a department on the floor, say the shoe section. Lavaux then approached various salespeople and asked them where to get shoes. Since both fourth and floor are words with an R after a vowel, he could listen closely to hear whether they said the R not when they replied. The salesperson would say either fourth floor or fourth floor, and then Lavaux would say, "Pardon?" So the person would repeat it more carefully. Lavaux would then head off, but instead of buying shoes, he'd pulled out his notebook and write down whether the person used R each time. He repeated this over and over at the 3 department stores. Apparently, he got questioned a few times. At the end of this study, Lavaux found that the staff at the fanciest department store were most likely pronounced R, followed by the mid-range store and finally the bargain store.
Okay, so this study found a way out that the observer's paradox and opened the door to framing language differences around social identities and not only have with someone was from. So kahit kalaya po natin, kahit pare-pareho tayong taga-Quezon, sa mga taga-Quezon, may pagkakaiba pa rin po talaga ng accent at saka yung kung paano natin i-pronounce yung word. Okay, sociolinguistic focus on the social spaces that languages occupy, a topic that the field of linguistics typically kept in the background. It is the effort to understand the way that social dynamics are affected by individual and or group language use, variations in language, and varying attitudes toward language. Okay, so here are the few examples of social factors of sociolinguistics. Okay, number 1 is studying the differences between the ways and women speak. So, pwede po ba akong makahingi? Okay, ako muna. Okay, a new psychology study finds differences in speech patterns between men and women. Men tend to use, just like si Ma'am Emily Fabia nga po ba yung nagsabi nung men are more abstract than the woman because women focus on details. Tama po ba, Miss Emily Fabia?
Yes po, Ma'am Irish.
Di ba po, kagaya po. Pero hindi naman po lahat ng babae ganun. Kasi magkabaliktad po kami nung asawa ko. Siya po is more on details. Ako naman is more on abstract. Parang ganun. So, hindi siya para sa lahat.
Apo.
Next naman is, tama po ba? Agree po
Yes,
ba kayo?
ma'am.
Hindi siya para sa lahat. Okay. And the next is, how teens or children speak. Ano nga ba yung pinagkaiba ng dalawa? Ano nga ba yung pinagkaiba ng teens at saka ng children? Okay, teens can speak much more refined than children in a sense that they have much more longer experience in speaking. Tama po ba? With different people compared to children. They also have a much well-developed brain for their age, which is why they are much ahead than the latter. Tama po ba? Okay, how different social classes communicate. Okay. And then the last one is dialects and how they influence one another. Okay, ito po ay na-explain na rin po kahapon ni na Ma'am Emily. So, this is sociolinguistics. What is it really? Okay, sociolinguistics is the study, number one, it is the study of the complex relationship between language and our society. Number two, the descriptive study of the effect of any and all aspects of society, including cultural norms, expectations, and context on the way language is used, and society's effects on language. Okay, number three, how creation and adherence to these rules is used to categorize individuals in social or socioeconomic classes. Okay, so here are my explanation about that three sociolinguistics. Okay, so the first, second, third, okay, at one time, the way one speaks, like vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, was very dependent on the immediate environment one was raised in. Thus, one's language reflected the social class and often the geographic area in which you were raised. Your class could easily be identified possibly by your geographic origin as well. So, okay, in the modern world, due to mass media like radio, television, and now the internet, the universal public education, this connection has been weakened, if not totally broken. This is most easily observed in the children of immigrants living in the immigrant neighborhoods. The children language is more like what is heard in mainstream society than what is heard in the immigrant neighborhood. Okay. Dito po pinapakita yung pagkakaiba rin ng kung paano magsalita yung tambay, yung manager, yung boss natin o professional at saka yung mga nasa matataas na posisyon like mga rich family. Ano po ba yung pagkakaiba nila? The way na makipag-communicate po sa mga sa tao or sa atin. Early jazz musicians, druggists, hobos, gay men, the black population, teens doing rap music, underworld figures, and criminals invent words or usages then later enter the English language in more common use, like the word rad, neat, and fat. Okay. Yes, as you go up in a social class, the language gets better because those in the higher classes are better educated. Part of better education is verbal communication skills, the ability to form sophisticated ideas, persuade people to your position, defend your position, and sell an idea. Demand exceptional language skills. Okay, so here are the scholars of sociolinguistics. Okay, the first one is Carol M. Estman. Okay, in 1975, the study that is concerned with the interaction of language and its setting. Okay, she is the author of the Linguistic Theory and Language Description. So, isang book po ito na kapag in-explain ko pa po sa inyo ay aabutin pa po ulit tayo ng isa pang SEM. So, the next one is Ronald Wardo. Okay, the study is concerned with investigating the relationship between language and society, with the goal of a better understanding of the structure of language and of how language function in communication. Okay, si Ronald Wardo daw ay isang professor in the Department of Linguistics at the University of Toronto. He is the author of a number of books including Proper English and Understanding English Grammar. Wow. Okay, I would like you to turn over to our next reporter, Sir Chris.
Thank you so much, Miss Irish, for that very informative introduction. Don't worry, ma'am. We are listening and we get all what you said. All right. So next to the list is the topic about sociolinguistics versus sociology of language. So sociolinguistics investigates the relationships between language and society with the goal of a better understanding of the structure and language and of how languages function in communication. However, with sociology of language, this is to discover how social structure can be better understood through the study of language. For example, how certain linguistic features serve to characterize particular social arrangement. So this is how they are different. All right, so according to Hudson in 1980, sociolinguistics is the study of language in relation to society. So ito si language, ito si society. So ang focal point dito is to study language on how it affects the society. Sociology of language is the study of society. Ito si society, okay. Ito society in relation to language. The way they are similar because they are both require systematic study of language. All right. So in other words, sociolinguistics main focus is the society on language. Sociology of language main focus is language effects on society. All right, so let's remember that for our quiz again later, to be led by Miss Irish. All right, so let's move on. Now, our next reporter for social factors, let's call on Miss Analyn. Miss Analyn, are you ready?
Hi, sir. Hello.
Hi.
Good
All right,
afternoon
please turn
again.
on your camera.
Classmates, yes, sir. Wait. Okay, kita na ba?
Take it away.
Okay, so again, good afternoon, my classmates and then my group mates. Here are the social factors affecting the sociolinguistics. So, what language people choose to speak in an exchange is determined by social factors. So, the language used by the participants is influenced by a number of social factors. So, ito yung mga nakaka-apekto. So, the first one is the participants. So, who is talking to whom? Let's say, sa age, sa rank, sa relationship. So, minsan kapag yung iba yung same age, iba yung language nila. And then, depende din sa katatayuan ng isang tao, and then depende din sa relasyon ng isang tao. Pangalawa is the setting. The setting, ito yung sinasabi natin na at home, at school, at formal meeting. Saan ba? Depende din kasi yung ginagamit nating language kapag tayo ay nasa bahay, kapag tayo ay nasa paaralan, and then kapag tayo ay nasa isang meeting or isang let's say seminars or kung anumang mga event. The third one is the topic. So, ano yung mga pang-araw? Ano ba yung mga topic? Ano yung pinag-uusapan? Ito ba ay yung pang-araw-araw, lalo sa loob ng bahay, o in terms of family matters, o yung pinag-uusapan natin is yung current na, yung ngayon, yung sitwasyon natin ngayon, and love life. So, marami yan. Maraming may gusto na pinag-uusapan is love life, and also the career. And then the fourth one is the functions. So, getting a loan, proposing a project, hiring an employee. So, iba-iba yung mga So, sa pamamagitan ng language na ginagamit natin, depende po yan kung saan natin gagamitin. So, meron po tayo ngayong a simple activity. So may dalawa po tayo ditong conversation. The conversation is between Ray and his mom, and the second conversation is between Ray and his principal. So, tatawag po tayo ng mag-a-act. So, it's a role-playing activity. So, sa mga kaklase ko po dyan, so, merong mag-a-act as, dun sa first conversation, may mag-a-act as a Ray and then mag-a-act ng kanyang mom. And then the second conversation is also mag-a-act ng Ray and then the principal. So, Sir Chris, can you help me to choose who will act in both conversation? So, nasa na ang ating mahiwagang ruleta dyan?
Ang mahiwagang ruleta ay nalubat. So, pipili na lang po tayo. Pasensya po, hindi ko talaga napansin, hindi siya nagbubukas. Completed ang matter niya. It's okay. So, I'm going to call on Mr. Aristeo Villaflor.
It is for the
play
person.
Ray. And for the mommy, let's call on yung nag-alisan sila, yung nagtatawag tayo.
Oo nga. Sino pa ba? Marami pa dyan, sir.
Oh, Miss May Denopol.
Okay.
Yan. Miss May, you are going to play the mom, and Sir Aris, you're going to play Ray. So please read the following text and please tell me if you're ready. Then we're going to record your performance.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Ma'am May?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So ready na po? Okay, everybody. Ito po ang ating example number 1. Take it away, guys.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, you're late.
Yeah, that bastard tooth bucket kept us in again.
Nana's here.
Oh, sorry. Where is she?
Very good. Ma'am Analyn, ano masasabi mo sa performance ng iyong inaanak?
Oo nga eh, naanak, very good.
Thank you, Ninang.
Manang-mana ka talaga sa ninang mo. Joke lang. Okay, so Sir Chris, let's go to, before we analyze the first conversation, let's go to the second conversation first. Thank you.
Okay, so the second conversation, there is Ray again. Let's pick our lucky contestant for the role play, Sir JM, and the principal will be played by Sir Joseph. Ayan. Ready po ba ang lahat? Hello, Sir JM. Hello, Sir Joseph.
Yes, ready.
Okay, ready? 5, 4, 3. Take it away, guys. Sir Reymark, sorry. JM ako ng JM. Sino si JM? Sir Reymark, it's your turn.
Ako po.
Oo, kasi sabi ko talaga J-Mark. Sino si J-Mark? Alright, Reymark.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir. What are you doing here at this time? Mr. Soton Kevastin, sir.
Ayan. So, Ma'am Analyn, ano pong sasabi niyo sa performance po ng ating dalawang actors? Dito po sa dalawa pong magkaiba pong conversation, role play, you will, if you'd notice, there is a difference between the choices of words, kung paano dineliver yung mga dialogues, dahil ito po sa sociolinguistics. Meron po tayo dito mga factors na dapat i-consider. Alright, Miss Analyn, are you back? Yeah, she's back. Alright. So
Okay, sorry, sir. Sorry.
Take it away.
Connecting. Sorry, sir, it's connecting. Okay, tapos na po ba, sir?
Yes po.
It's okay. So, classmates, based on the two, let's go first to the first conversation. So, ano po kaya yung analyzation nyo dun sa first conversation? Sino po kaya?
Sir Aristeo.
Sino po kaya?
Siyempre si Sir Aristeo yan, sa si Miss May.
Yes. Between between Aris, inaanak, and then kay Ma'am May. Ano po kaya yung masasabi niyo dun sa unang conversation?
Can I answer, ma'am?
Sure po. Go ahead po.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon po. So in the first dialogue, or in the first conversation, since the people talking with each other is a mother and a son. I think it is more casual conversation because they are too close to each other, because they are mother and son. So they can greet each other with saying hi, which is I think informal. So it's just okay because they are, like what I said, they are mother and son. Unlike in dialogue number 2, we're in professional, between a professional and student. So when you are talking to a career official, you should use formal language like greeting, good afternoon, sir. You always use the word sir as respect for that person who is with higher authority. That's all, Mom. Thank you.
I would like to add something, Miss Analyn. Hello.
Go
Hello.
ahead, ma'am. It's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So the second scenario, he called the teacher Mr. Suton, right? But when he was talking to his mom, he called his teacher the bastard, soot bucket. And soot bucket is some kind of a slang or a very rude, like minumura mo yung teacher mo. He was so angry to the teacher for keeping them for a long time. They should be in the mall, but because of the teacher, they had to stay in the school. And you see the spelling of the word mom, M-U-M. So normally it is used it's like a jargon of the word mom, M-O-M. And another is, what is it? Yeah. So in formal conversation, we use yes, right? We don't use yeah. Okay. And another thing, they are really informal. Like, maybe he respects his mom, but the way he treated or how he spoke about his teacher, it's somewhat rude, inappropriate. Yan lang po. Thank you.
Okay,
Ayan,
thank you,
maraming
ma'am.
salamat po.
Yes.
Yes, Miss Analyn. Alright, thank you so much, Miss Citadel, for your very keen observation. Totoo po yung sinabi ninyo. I'd like to acknowledge that if we are talking with someone higher than us, especially with status, we regard them with sir, with ma'am. Ayun po yung kasama sa kanilang title. We regard them with respect. And also when we are talking with our... Hi, Ma'am Analyn, are you back?
Yes. Oh, yes. I'm sorry kung okay, sir. Ngayon pa Okay, so naririnig na po ba ako?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Alright.
sir. So,
I was saying...
yes. So, nagkaroon na sila, sir, ng ng analysis between the two conversation. So, yes. So, even though hindi ko naman talaga narinig lahat yung so parang ang nila kasi doon analysis is yung first conversation is more on casual, sabi nga kanina ni ma'am ni forget my name yung kanina kay ni Sir Ari. So sabi nga niya pagka yung kasi minsan hindi na, kumbaga casual na lang yung pag-uusap. Sir? So, minsan hindi, para bang nawawala na rin yung Hello, naririnig pa po ba ako?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Go.
Yung minsan kasi yung sa sobrang, kumbaga yung familiar na ba ng mga anak. Ako tulad ko, sa mga anak ko, medyo familiar na kaya pag nag-uusap kami, para kaming mga magkakaibigan na lang. So, yon. And, pagdating naman sa conversation 2, so yun nga medyo formal kasi syempre iba yung rank, iba yung subordinate and then mas higher rank yung principal. Sir Ray? Sir Chris, tama po ba ako? Kasi hindi ko masyadong yung mga
Yes,
analysis ni na ma'am at yes. So yun. So tingnan natin, tingnan natin sir dun sa pinaka-analysis natin. So, next slide please, sir.
Alright, ma'am. Before we go there, ma'am, thank you then,
Sir
Miss
Chris.
Glynis, for your observation.
Sir Chris,
Thank you
Sir
so much.
Chris, Sir
Apo.
Chris, Sir Chris, for a moment please,
Alright.
isa-silent ko lang kasi may dadaan na ano, baka may marinig kayo. Wait lang for a moment please.
Okay. All right, I'll take over. All right, so have you guys heard of the saying, complacency, familiarity breeds complacency? So if you are familiar with the person or with the people that we're talking about, you tend to be complacent with the choice of your words, with your gesture, with your body language. So I think social linguistic speaks a lot about this stuff. So thank you so much for your input, guys. Again, it's very helpful and very informative. Thank you. All right, as we move on now, Miss Analyn.
Yes, okay, so next slide please, sir. Okay, analysis number 1. So the conversation between Ray and his mother also illustrates the fact that language serves a range of functions. We use language to ask for and give people information. We use it to express indignation and annoyance, as well as admiration and respect. Open one utterance will simultaneously convey both information and express feelings. So, yun po yung analysis natin doon sa conversation 1. And then this is the analysis for conversation number 2. His response indicated Ray's awareness of the social factors which influence the choice of appropriate ways of speaking in different social contexts. Sociolinguistics is concerned with the relationship between language and the context in which it is used. Okay, sir? Naririnig pa po ba ako?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, yes, so makikita po natin ano po yung analysis between the two conversation. And that's all my to sum up my topic. So, the way a person speak to another or one another, it depends on some social factors. The participants, the setting, the topic, and the function. And social dimensions such as the solidarity scale, status scale, formality scale, and functional scale. That's all, and thank you. Sir Chris, back to you.
Maraming salamat po, Miss Analyn.
Yes, and then,
Alright.
sir, okay, sir, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Anything else?
Okay. Yeah, nothing, sir. Thank you.
Okay po. That's all right. All right, so classmates, we're going to move forward to Miss Glenda to talk about the next topic, about social dimensions. Miss Glenda, are you ready? All right, so while we wait for Miss Glenda, in addition to these components, it is useful to take account of 4 different dimensions for analysis, which relate to the factors above and which have been only implicit to or in the conversation or the discussion so far. These are, number 1, social distance scale. This is concerned with the participant relationships. Later on, we're going to talk about it more. Number 2 is the status scale, concerned with participant relationships or status. Number 3, a formality scale, or relating to the setting or type of interaction. And number 4, this is the 2 functional scales relating to the purposes or topic of interaction. So let's move on. All right, so let me call on the help of, this is a group effort already to give more light for the topic. So this is a draft of the solidarity or social distance scale. Groupmates, sir, sino pa po ba ang nandito sa mga groupmate ko? Mais ko po sana humingi po ng paumanhin dahil po ang aking mga kagrupo ay nagkakaroon po ng medyo konting glitches lang po sa kanilang mga internet connection. So si Sir Joemar po is here to help me out to explain about the solidarity social distance scale. Sir?
Okay, thank you, Sir Chris. Good afternoon, everyone. So for now, let's have a short discussion about the social dimension. So in social linguistics, social dimension are the characteristic of the context that affect how language is used. Generally, there are 4 dimensions to the social context that are measured or analyzed through the use of 5 scales. The 4 dimension and the 5 scale are as follows. The first one is the social distance. And then it's followed by the status, and then the formality, and then the functional, which includes the referential and affective function. Okay, sir, next slide, please. Okay, let us proceed to the social distance. So, social distance is an indicator of how we know someone that we are talking to. Many languages have different pronouns and even declination in the verb based on how will they know someone. Okay, for example, in English, a person might say, "What's up?" to a friend. However, when speaking to a stranger, regardless of the stranger's status, a person may say something such as, "How are you?" The only reason for the change in language use is the lack of intimacy with the stranger as compared to the friend. So dito po sa social distance, kumbaga po, the way po na makipag-usap ang tao, it depends upon kung gaano po siya ka-close dun sa kanyang kakausapin. Yan po yung tinatawag nating social distance. Like for example, sabi nga po dito, kung kaibigan mo siya, kahit sabihin mo lang sa kanya, "What's up?" Pero kung hindi mo naman po siya kaibigan or na totally close, ginagamit natin yung parang formal. Like for example, "How are you?" Okay, the next one is all about the status. Status is related to social ranking. The way we speak to peers is different than how we speak to superiors. Friends are called by their first name, while a boss, in some culture, is always referred to by Mr., Miss, or Sir or Madam. The rule for status can be confusing. Frequently, we will refer to our parents as mom or dad, but never Mr. or Mrs. Even though Mr. or Mrs. is a sign of respect, it violates the intimacy of the relationship between a parent and a child. As such, often parents would be upset if their children call them Mr. or Mrs. So dito naman po sa status, pinapaliwanag po dito na ang example po dito ay yung pagtawag po natin sa ating parent. Like for example, tinatawag natin sila ng mom or dad instead of Mr. and Mrs. So dito po parang dinedepend natin based on the status. Like for example, kung ating kamag-anak yan, so tinatawag lang po natin silang ate, kuya, nanay, tatay, mom or dad. But in other rule po, parang binabiolate po yung rule na dapat pag po makikipag-usap tayo sa mas ahead sa atin, we need to use Mr. or Mrs. Okay, the next one is formality. So, formality can be seen as the presence or absences of colloquial or slang in a person's communication. In highly formal settings such as speech, the language will often lack more earthly style of speaking. Contraction may disappear, idioms may be reduced. However, when spending time with friends at home, more like laid-back manner of speaking will emerge. However, when spending time with friends and home, or more laid-back manner of speaking will emerge, one's accent becomes more prominent, slang terms are permissible. So dito naman po sa ating tinatawag na formality, dito po tayo yung gumagamit po tayo nung informal speaking. Like for example po, kagaya po nung kanina, paglalagay po ng Mr. and Mrs. Halimbawa po sa principal naman po sa school. O yun po yung ating tinatawag po natin silang ma'am. And then dun po sa mga government officials, yun pong mga ginagamit po natin bilang pang tawag po sa kanila in a formal way. Okay, so let's proceed to the last one. The functional or referential and affective. Referential is a measure of amount of information being shared in a discourse. The use of facts, statistics, direction, etc. Affective relates to the emotional content of communication and indicate how someone feels about the topic. So dito po, in a function or referential and affective, dito po pinapakita ano po ba yung function ng isang tao and then sinasamahan po niya ng affective. So pag sinabi po natin affective, most commonly it pertains to to our emotion. So for example, James is a 45-year-old professor of research who has written several books but is still a complete idiot. Okay, this example above shares a lot of information. At it shares the person name, job, and accomplishment. Yung pong binanggit na si James po ay 45-year-old professor of research and who has written several books. But pumapasok po naman po dito yung ating affective. The emotion of the speaker are highly negative towards James as they call James a complete idiot. So dito po sa function or referential and affective, kumbaga po dito natin sinasamahan po kung ano po yung characteristic na meron yung tao, and then sasamahan po natin na yung ating emotion yung po sa tao na yan. So in conclusion, the social dimension of language are useful to know in order to understand what is affecting how people communicate. The concept behind the 4-dimension impact how we talk without most as knowing why or how. This can be frustrating but also empowering as people will understand why they adjust the bar context of language use. So dito po, sa social dimension, dito po pinapakita na paano po ba tayo makikipag-usap sa iba't ibang tao na nakakasalamuha natin. Kumbaga po, paano tayo makipag-usap sa friends natin, paano tayo makipag-usap sa strangers, dun sa mga higher rank sa atin. So dito po pinapakita yan. Okay, let us proceed to the conclusion. In conclusion, sociolinguistics is a field of study that research on how language is used in the community. So, ibig sabihin po, ang sociolinguistics daw po ay isang field of study na kung saan paano daw po ginagamit yung language sa community. And the next one, the way a person speaks to another depends on social factors and social dimensions. And then, the language choices convey information about social relationship between people as well as the topic of discussion. And that's all for my report. Back to you, Sir Chris.
Thank you so much, Sir Joemar, for that very informative explanation. All right. So, just to recap everything, I know we had a conclusion already. So, guys, classmates, so social linguistics is the language of the society and how it affects the society. At dagdag ko lang doon sa referential, extra referential, yung language daw ng isang tao on how we talk to another person affects us when we have extra referential information about the person. Very good example of this are the issues and the gossip that we hear about the person. So, maski may social status siya, maski nandun siya sa mataas na social dimension, if we hear some issues and some gossip about that person, then our paradigm shifts. Okay, so that's another information that I would like to impart to everyone. All right, so now we are formally opening the table for questions. By the way, these are our references. If you want, you can check them out here. And this is actually a book and some links that is very helpful about our topic. So, any questions, everyone?
Parang natakot sa'yo, Sir Chris, tanong.
Hindi naman po ako nangangagat, mga ma'am, sir. All right. All right. So, if you don't have any questions, everyone, we are going to, if you are connected to if you're using only one device, please disconnect first in the call. But before that, we are going to give you a link for our quizzes.
Individual game po ito, which is Quizziz. Ang mananalo po ay magkakamit ng ano, sir?
Special essential lugaw.
Essential lugaw.
No. The first will receive a special package from Miss Irish to be sent via courier. Nice. So palakpakan naman natin si Ma'am Irish. May para
Victoria's Secret perfume po.
Ayan, Victoria's Secret perfume daw. Paano kung lalaki ang mananalo?
Yes po. Victoria's Secret perfume po para sa mananalo. Then,
Wow.
ang second prize po is, magkano nga, sir?
Load of 50,000 pesos. 50.
50,000, 50 million baht.
No. Yung second is 50,000 centavos.
50,000 centavo. And the third is
30 Gcash.
30 Gcash. So, ang mananalo po is magkakamit po ng Victoria's Secret. Kayo na lang po yung bahala sa shipping fee. Okay lang po?
Alright, everybody, please go to joinmyquiz.com and key in this code.
Wow! Panalo si Ma'am Glay.
Ayan. Maraming salamat po sa pag-participate. Ang ating po mga winners, ang first po natin ay si Miss Glay, second si Ma'am Mimi, at third si Dr. Live. Nako, hakot na tong mga to Kota na.
Yes.
Pero,
napakaraming award.
Yes po. Ayan. So, ayun po.
Thank you.
Group mates, do you have any last words or parting words to say to our classmates? All right, on behalf of do you have anything to say to our classmates?
Okay. Thank you.
Wala na po, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, classmates.
Sorry.
Maraming salamat.
For the cooperation.
All right.
Thank you
So on
po.
behalf of my Group 5 and with the leadership of Miss Irish Dacsil, we would like to thank everyone for participating and for bearing with us, although the weather and the internet is not cooperating at all. Ingat po kayo dyan, be safe out there. Dalawa po ang threat natin, bagyo at ang COVID. So please, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Make sure that you don't allow or let anyone or anything steal your shine. So goodbye, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Bye. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Group 5. Thank you, group mates. I'm extremely proud of you. Goodbye.